This is one of the first characters, well, probably one of the only, to where I see people and they tell me they hate me. Hi, I'm Morris Chestnut, and I'm gonna flip through this scrapbook of my many co-stars and friends throughout the years. Wow, yep. This one is Boyz in the Hood. Wow. Yeah, so many memories on this project. This was my first movie ever. In this photo, this here, when I look at this, it was like, wow. This really took me back, because this is where it really all started and all began. I was just happy to be on set, and it brings back a lot of memories. I remember even the rehearsals. It was just interesting. I was on a movie project, and so the rehearsals were just interesting, just everyone coming together.
What up, G? Trey loving them. Hey.
Yo, what's up, Trey?
First few days on set, I was just like a kid at a candy store. Bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, didn't have any clue what I was doing, and I was just glad to be there, glad to be working in a movie. When we were shooting the movie, I didn't think the movie was going to be as big as it was, but yeah. I think this particular shot here, the one with myself, Cuba, Fishburne, and that was Whitman Mayo, so he was on Sanford and Son at the time. And I remember just being as a kid, I know who Fishburne was, but I really watched Sanford and Son. It was one of my favorite shows, so I was glad to be in that shot with him. But this scene, we were there looking at the billboard, and Fishburne was giving us an education. John Singleton, the director, he loved to have authentic characters, so we had some real people from the neighborhood that kind of walked up on us while we were shooting the scene, and they were extras, but they were like real people from the neighborhood. And one of the guys that was in that shot, I still talk to this very day. Cuba was great. I'll never forget Cuba. At the time we shot Boyz in the Hood, Cuba was already established in TV. He was on a show called MacGyver. He had a holding deal at the network. And so he had done much more than I had done at the time, because I hadn't really done anything. Our trailers were right next to each other. Every time he would come out, I would come out just to ask him questions. I'll never forget one time he came out, I came out, then he went back in. Because I was asking him so many questions. But no, it was great working with Cuba, because, of course, a very strong actor. I remember we did the scene on Crenshaw Boulevard where the cop pulls us over. I never forget us talking about that. He said, "This is my Denzel Washington glory shot." And so, yeah, I definitely remember that. Wow, this is Out All Night, a TV show on NBC with Patti LaBelle. And this was my first sitcom ever. And it was fun. I had a fun time doing this job. I remember the only person outside of Patti, I was a huge Patti LaBelle fan. I wanted to work with Vivica. At the time, she was on a soap opera called Generations. And I was like, wow, she's attractive and very talented. And then sure enough, we ended up working together on this show. We had little Taj. Taj, who's Tia and Tamara's brother, was on the show. Wow. One of the things I do remember, every tape day, which was every Friday, Patti used to love to cook. So she would cook all the homemade meal and just bring it all to set. I remember that was a great time. But she was really like a mother to us all. She had been in entertainment for years. And so, we could talk to her about anything in entertainment. And she really was like a mother figure on the show. Vivica was great. Vivica's a very talented actress, and she really, handled all the scenes and everything well. I think she was probably one of the first ones cast on this show. And no, she was great. She was great to work with. I remember this shirt because I did love this shirt. When I look at the belt and the jeans, not so much, but I think the shirt was classic. I probably can get away with that shirt today. So the producers of The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, Susie and Andy Borowitz, they were the creators and the writers of the show. And they had a deal at NBC. We had some great guest stars.
Mary J. Blige!
Boyz II Men.
We had TLC, who was hot. We had Bobby Brown, Keith Washington. And I didn't really understand the TV game at the time. So looking back, I'm sure we probably didn't have the ratings that we had, but I wasn't thinking of it like that. I was like, we had this great show and people would talk about it. And we had all these musical artists that are coming on our show. So like every taping was like a concert, because we had the section of the show where the musical artists would come to the club and they would perform one of their favorite songs. I really had a great time on the show. The Best Man, wow. This definitely brings back memories working on this. Looking at these photos, this movie The Best Man, shot with Malcolm Lee. Looking at this picture right here and this picture right there. Those scenes were shot in consecutive days that I remember at night. Particularly this one because I had to hang Taye. I was about to push him over a balcony in this shot right here. It was just weird because, I had to keep kind of pretend like I'm pushing him over, and he had the safety stuff and we were up pretty high, and it was one of those things to where I did get tired of doing it because I was yelling at him, I had all this anger towards him. And then what happened, so that scene basically I was in the bathroom and I read in the book that he had slept with my fiance who I was about to marry. So after I get out the bathroom is when I find him, I charge him, and I'm about to push him over the balcony. Well, we shot the balcony shot first. So I was exhausted, and then I had to come back. So when you see me in the scene reading the book before, I was really exhausted because I was tired because we shot me trying to fight him and push him over the balcony and all that beforehand. So that was exhausting, but I had a great time. It was just late. We just shot late, long hours, I remember there. And then this scene here, all of us at the table playing cards.
Easy, Mojo. Leave the boy alone.
Mojo, I haven't heard that in the clip. Mo to the Joe.
I mean, we didn't know each other that well, but we were bonding over this movie, and we bonded over this scene, just hanging out, with each other, and we were making a movie. There were no egos involved. Taye was really hot because he had just done I Still Got a Groove Back, and he was the lead, and he's a really, really good dude, so he was number one on the call sheet. This whole set kind of went under him. He did a great job, being the leader of the set. So I remember Terrence and I stayed at the same hotel, so we kind of bonded, on our way back to and from the set as well as being on the set. We really had a great time, hanging with each other and talking to each other. And every time we do another movie or another project, it just falls right back into place. It's like riding a bike. Nia, she's incredible. She's always been incredible. Of course, we did Boyz in the Hood together so many years, before that. So working together here on this, and we just had a great time. It's interesting because at the time that we did this movie, it was fresh because, of course, there was Boyz in the Hood, there was New Jack City, there was Minister Society. There were all these somewhat quote-unquote gang genre movies. This movie was one of the first of its kind to where you have, progressive college graduates just coming together and having a good time. So I think that it was really fresh at the time. In addition to that, very similar to Boyz in the Hood, I think part of the demand is this movie was so successful that all of us ended up working and being leads of other movies. I went on to do leads of movies. Terrence went on to have an Academy Award nomination. Nia did a movie. Sanaa went on to do Love and Basketball. I think all of us working in our own right on our own projects just kind of kept the interest going for us to do another one. And then we all came back together. I think star power was somewhat magnified. And so I think that's what's kind of kept it going. But originally, I think it started first and foremost with Malcolm Lee making a great film. Like Mike. Yes, wow, look at Bow Wow, look how young he was. This is Jonathan Lipnicki. The kid who was the villain in this movie, he was a kid back then, but he's doing very well now. Yeah, Jesse Plemons. Yeah, Jesse. Yes, Jesse Plemons. Exactly. Yeah, he's doing really strong work, and he was not the villain, but kind of like the bad kid in the movie that was antagonizing the other kids. He's really good. This was a fun movie. This is a basketball movie. I'll never forget when I got the call, I was excited to do the movie because I loved playing basketball, and I thought I was going to be able to help my basketball skills by going to basketball camp and doing the fundamental stuff and all that stuff. But it didn't happen. I learned zero skills. Because what it was every time you do a movie, so like a basketball movie, you practice basketball, and football movie, you practice football. But the challenge with this movie, as well as football movies, is they coordinate the game shots. You're not out there like practicing. You're really out there just doing the choreography of the plays. And so I really didn't get to play with the basketball players, and I couldn't because some of these cats, a lot of these cats were really, really good basketball players, and I had no business being on the court with them. But I do remember that part was fun. One of my favorite parts about this movie, we had this mansion in Malibu, so we had this paint, and we were just slapping paint all over the walls and all of that. So it was a very fun movie to make. Bow Wow loved basketball at the time. He always had a basketball with him. And the one thing he did have, he had handles. He could really You know, it was really kind of hard to stay in front of him because he used to have these tricks, that he would do with the basketball. And he got me a couple. He did get me one time. He did. I have to admit that. He was doing one of his basketball tricks. The director was just like, have fun with it. And so when we were in the car rapping to DMX, we were just doing a little everything, and we were just having a lot of fun.
Y'all gonna make me lose my mind. Up in here, up in here. Y'all gonna make me go
TLC.
yo. Up in here, listen for a long.
This is one of the movies I still recognize the most, and mainly it's from young kids who play AAU basketball, who still to this day, they still watch this movie like Mike. The TV show The Resident, this was one of my favorite TV shows to be a part of because I got to play a villain in Dr. Barrett Kane. The character on the show, he always acted within the best interest of the hospital. It was only to make as much money as he could for the hospital. So he would prescribe these very invasive surgeries only for money. Even if the patient didn't need that type of surgery, he would prescribe that surgery just so the hospital can get paid money. I love working with Matt, who was a great lead on a TV show. It was one of the shows that people really, really bonded, and they felt emotional when they watched the show. So when I came in and I kind of disrupted the hospital, I'll never forget, one of the characters got into an accident, and everyone was grieving because her life was on the line. And they came, they tried to complain to me, and I wasn't trying to have it. She had taken like an Uber somewhere, and they were like, they wanted me to feel the sympathy. I basically said, I don't care. I'm not gonna feel the sympathy just because she wanted to take an Uber. That's her problem. Oh, people went crazy over that. But I love the reaction of the show. And then of course, wow, had these great scenes with Malcolm-Jamal Warner. I just still can't believe it that Malcolm's no longer here. That's like, he was such a good dude. I remember this scene. Our characters didn't like each other, and he was very protective of everybody on the show, and that's kind of like how he was. I wasn't acting at the time that the Cosby Show came out, but when I did see the Cosby Show, his character resonated with me the most. I can see myself as an actor in his character. And I hadn't decided to act at that time, but that probably was one of the first times I was like, wow, that's kind of cool. This dude's an actor on TV. We kind of could look alike. And matter of fact, he had one of my favorite episodes on the Cosby Show in the Gordon Gartrell shirt. That's just one of my favorite all-time episodes. And we talked about it on set. And he was telling me a couple stories about, working in New York. And when I first came to that cast, he was like, hey, let's go grab a bite to eat. So we went out to dinner. This incredible dude. I hate what happened to him, but rest in peace. The whole cast was a class act. Of course, it starts with Matt. Matt really was a great number one. Of course, Bruce was cool. He's a veteran in the industry.
I want my surgical residents to observe you in the OR.
You don't trust me? Fine. There are other orthopedic surgeons here.
Jane was incredible. Our characters butted heads. That was really fun because, working with her and we butt heads on screen, and she would, we really have great conversation off screen. And then Emily was great. It was just a great cast to work with. Ah, yes. Watson. Oh, wow, look at this picture. Okay, yes. I'm really, really enjoying Watson. Oh, wow, you guys got that picture? This was a first season cast and crew photo. This was the cast screening with the crew for the first episode. But I'm really having a great time on Watson. Our showrunner, Craig Sweeney, is doing a great job on writing the episodes. This season 2, is bigger, stronger, faster, better. We have better connection as a cast, better connection as the writing's incredible. Do I have a favorite? Listen, I love all the cast. But I do have to say, in terms of the characters, I love what they're doing with Ingrid's character. She has some very deep mental issues, and particularly what she's going through this year. I love her character, but I love all the characters. I love Shinwell. So all the doctors that work under me are brilliant minds through education and books. Shinwell's a brilliant mind from the streets, so he definitely brings an added element. And I have to say, Peter, who plays twins on the show, is doing a brilliant job. And I think he needs more attention because when you see these characters on screen, they're two definitely distinctly different characters, and he's doing a tremendous job. We have a great time on the show. We haven't started the pranks yet. We were just very focused on doing a great show, trying to get to season 2, and we're here. So I think we're gonna have a little bit more fun with it. Looking back, of course, the one that garners the most emotion looking back, obviously, is Malcolm-Jamal Warner. That's just so tragic. I mean, he's such a great soul. I can't even believe it, even just looking at these pictures. But just seeing all the people that I worked with throughout the years, I've really worked with some incredible and talented actors and good people.